Being a highly intuitive empath has its challenges, and I'm going to discuss the 5 biggest challenges that I've experienced right now. Hi, and welcome to Oak Law Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning, thank you for your continued support. So I'm actually going to discuss the 5 biggest challenges that I've come across being very intuitive, being empathic, and what that can actually mean in real life, because it's all very well doing all your spiritual work and getting into your own place of peace and harmony. You're making your inner world peaceful and harmony, but we still have to function in the 3D reality of what we find ourselves in within the world at the moment, dealing with other people. And so I've just kind of jotted down 5 of the most challenging aspects I found on my journey. The first one being knowing when people are lying to you, intuitively sensing that people are lying to you, and then having to make the decision as to whether you cut them off, cut them out, whether you challenge those lies, you address them, not in an aggressive manner, obviously, but whether you actually address them or whether you just kind of cut those people off. And very often what we do, being highly sensitive people as well as empaths, we very often just kind of isolate ourselves. We cut ourselves off, and that can get quite lonely, because you kind of think, am I going to have any friends left? A lot of people unintentionally lie because they lack confidence, they lack self-worth, they lack self-value, they feel insecure in some way, shape, form. And so this is when your ability as an empath comes into play. So instead of instantly feeling that hurt, because this is something that we need to teach ourselves, this is something we need to learn and practice, is when we feel those lies initially, it comes in as a pain. It hurts us to feel that somebody has to lie to us. But what we're looking at practicing and mastering is taking ourselves from those 3D dynamics and taking the higher perspective and stepping away from the initial emotions, because they would be coming from our own programming. They will be coming from a lifetime of being slighted, feeling hurt. And so whilst we're still working on clearing our own traumas, we learn to take that higher perspective. We learn to step away from the emotions and to go, okay, what's going on there? How do I feel about this? Was that said maliciously with intent, or was that something within their own world? Was that an insecurity within their own world? And when it's an insecurity in their own world, that's when you kind of go, okay, what am I going to do about this? This isn't me. This has nothing to do with me. That belongs to them. What is right for me? What is right thing for me to do to deal with this? And so in some instances, you may just give them love. You may just hold a space and give them love so that they can start to build in their confidence. They can start to build in their self-worth, they can start to build solid foundations for a secure foundation for themselves. Other times you will actually think they don't resonate. This is where your discernment comes in. They don't resonate, like that. I've kind of connected with them from being the old me and not the new me. And so we keep learning. And I think this is one of the things that you start to learn very quickly on your spiritual pathway is seasons, reasons, or lifetimes. And I love that phrase because it allows you to assess, okay, is this person in my life for a reason? Is this person in my life for a season? Is this person in my life for a lifetime? And so you get to choose. You get to feel into those energies. You get to use your intuition and see what is right for you in that moment. That doesn't mean that that's going to be right for you tomorrow, in a week's time, 3 months' time, 3 years' time. But what's right for you in that moment? What category are you going to put them in? And that will help you make a decision as to how you're going to deal with somebody lying to you. The second one is being under attack. And always having people, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how much you make yourself very, very small, you still find yourself being under attack. And I say that because lots and lots of empaths, before they know they're empaths, have had this barrage of attacks from people, like a continual competition, and you make yourself smaller and you make yourself smaller and you make yourself smaller until you become almost invisible. And even when you are practically invisible and you've become mute and your throat chakra is completely blocked because you haven't been to speaking your truth, because God forbid you should have an opinion, because then you know that if you voice an opinion, somebody will come at you, they will come after you, they will project energies onto you because of their own, again, their own insecurities. And you learn, again, this is when you start to learn that actually it doesn't matter how small or how insignificant or how mute you become. Somebody will always feel the need to attack you because they can feel your energy, whether they know that's what they're doing or not. They feel your energy and it creates an insecurity in them. And again, it's taking that higher perspective whilst really starting to learn to put boundaries in place, put energetic protections in place to build and strengthen your 12D shield. And I will be doing a video because a lot of people, I've realized these last months that a lot of people really don't know about the 12D shield anymore. When I first started out, it was something that we all did literally straight away. But I have noticed that we've progressed over the years, some of the basics have kind of fallen to the wayside. And so I'm going to start to bring those back so that you can actually attune yourself. You can learn how to do those. You can start to really build those energies up and protect yourself energetically. So that being under attack, again, it's taking that higher perspective. It's again learning that actually, because you are highly intuitive, because you are an empath, you're giving off an immense amount of light energy. And so if anybody has any darker aspects in them that they didn't know about or they haven't wanted to face, they will project that because you're acting like a mirror. Your light is reflecting back to them what they don't want to see, which is why they attack you. The majority of the time, this is all happening on an energetic level. It's just because you're highly intuitive that you can sense it. The person that's doing it very often is completely unaware. And so this is, again, where you pull yourself back, you take that higher perspective, and you give understanding and compassion to what's going on. The third thing that I found, that took me a long time. So how do you hear me breathing there? It took me a long, long time to really get my head around this, was to the need to only be intimate with a divine counterpart. And when I'm talking about intimacy, I'm not just talking about sex. Yes, that does come into it. When we are sexually intimate with another, we exchange energies. And so when we're having sex with another person, we are taking in, we are opening ourselves up completely and allowing their energies into our energies and our energies into their energies. And so it's really important that you have the discernment to choose the right partners to be intimate with, to ensure that they are at the same energetic frequency and level, and that your trajectory is going in the same direction. And I took a long time to breathe about that, because obviously as a young woman and with a healthy appetite, that was really difficult, because I didn't fully understand me. I didn't fully understand my energetic abilities and powers and what that meant for me. And I certainly was running a whole host of dysfunctional programs and beliefs that was attracting me to the wrong type of person. And so when you do get to a level where you can go, whoa, I'm doing my healing, and I'm really not having any intimate relationships, sexual intimate relationships with anybody who is not on my level. It's you do that by having done your own healing. You do that by really understanding who you are, understanding your needs, your wants, your desires, understanding your mission, your purpose, where you're going. You don't have to see the full picture, but you understand the vibrations, and so you can feel into other people's vibrations, and are they matching? You don't have to be doing the same thing. You don't have to be absolutely at the same level, but a little bit of difference you can work with if you're both willing to work with that. But when there's a massive difference in the levels, then that is when it's going to be complicated, and that is when you are going to leave parts of yourself, because when we're exchanging those energies, when those relationships are finished, a piece of us still is with them. And this is where soul retrieval comes in. This is where retrieving our power comes in. So shamanic power retrieval, we call all that back to ourselves. But intimate relationships are not just sexual. Intimate relationships are can be platonic, with people that we are just completely open and honest with. And this is when we need that discernment. This is when we need to really know ourselves, understand ourselves. This is when we need to have the confidence. Very much our throat chakra and our heart chakra needs to be fully functional and fully open, so that we can vocalize with a level of emotional maturity what we need, and we have the ability to actively listen to what they are needing, what they are saying. So we don't always sit there and go, I need this. It's not like a checklist, but it's through conversation. It's through clarity of speech, your clarity of words, that mindfulness with the words that you choose, ensuring that there is integrity and authenticity in the words that you speak, and the ability to actively listen to what somebody else is saying to you. And this, yeah, so you can see why I've kind of been listing these as challenges, because there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to learn, because many, well, actually all of these I've listed so far, we are not taught. This is something we are learning on the journey. Number 4 is gaining the patience and holding old patterns at bay whilst waiting for your next instructions from the divine. That surrendering and listening while staying away from fear and impatience. And I'm going to emphasize the impatience bit, because that holding space, when you start following the directions of divine, that holding space is really where your resolve, your faith in yourself, your faith in your, if you have a religion, your faith in the divine and the pathway that you have chosen really comes into play. Because by golly, does that impatience come in, especially when you're about to level up, when you know that you're being tested by the divine as to whether you're ready to level up. I don't think that is as hard personally as that waiting. That waiting for me, that's probably me. It's part of my character. It's about knowing your own character. But I found, and I still find, I'm not going to lie, I still find that quite difficult. That it's almost like a loading bay. You're just waiting. You're waiting for it all to come in. You know, there's lots of work to do. And this is where you have to be really mindful and go, okay, the divine has given me an opportunity. It's that hangman. I've been given the opportunity to review and be introspective and to allow myself to rest and rejuvenate before I go up to the next level. But we all have programs that tell us we should be doing more, being more. I mean, even with the law of attraction, you can't just sit there. It doesn't come knocking at your door. There are certain actions that you need to take for that law of attraction. So mentally, we have all this going on. And so this is when it's really important to listen to the divine and listen to your heart space, intuition, get out of the head and into the heart and go, okay, am I supposed to be taking action, or am I supposed to be resting? Am I supposed to be being introspective? Am I supposed to be reflective? Am I supposed to be just strengthening my connection and my resolve and collecting information? Because very often we go through phases of collecting information. We become a sponge. But then we think, right, okay, we've got all this information. What should we do? We've gone straight back into the head. It's that ego. So do you see what I'm saying? So it's about going, okay, I've gone there. That's all right. It's okay. Bring it back down. Bring it back down to the heart. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just bringing in the information. Divine will show me in time what I'm to do with that information. And that's really hard. It is really, well, I find it really hard. I mean, if you've got some kind of magic trick that allows you to remain in that heart space the whole time, then please write it in the comments. And the 5th one is maintaining those higher levels of perspective whilst we're in the 3D world. And I'm a Scorpion, so and I had this conversation yesterday with my daughter. We had a lovely day down at the White Wells in Glastonbury yesterday. It was absolutely magical using the energies of the full moon. But that aside, in the car, we were discussing this, and I was saying, being a Scorpion, obviously we've got that stinger, it comes out. It comes out. And so on my journey, I've learned to not sting. I've learned to pull back, take a breath, be introspective, feel into the energies rather than be in defensive mode. But I do still, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't, I still can feel that stinger charging up. So like you boot up a defibrillator. So you, and then it gets to a higher pitch before it goes boom. It's I can still feel that stinger charging up. I haven't quite mastered that yet. I'm getting there. But a lot of that, I think, is because you light workers, you're empaths, you're highly sensitive beings, and you're here to bring joy, bring love, bring happiness, bring light to the world. And there's a part of you that gets a little bit fed up, or there's been a part of me anyway that gets a little bit fed up of always being the goody two shoes. I mean, my journey's taken me that I can't drink caffeine, I can't drink alcohol. I mean, there's so many things that have been taken out of my life for my higher good, which I fully appreciate and I'm so grateful for. But there are some times where the physical me just wants to be a badass. And so when that energy comes in, it's learning, okay, how can I be that badass, but in a good way? And again, that is a challenge. That is very challenging, because there's always going to be that part of you, that darker side of you, that just wants to go, as it does in my case, the scorpion, you know, that tail wants to sting. It's like, you fucking hurt me, I'm gonna get you. And obviously, being on the journey, that's not what this is about. Being on the journey is learning to not be reactive, but to be responsive. Now, as I said, that reaction in me now has stopped. But there's sometimes, I'd be lying, there are some times when I wish I could be reactive like I used to be, because there was a part of me that was like, have yours. and I don't know if that ever goes away. I really don't know if that ever goes away. I've spoken to several gurus, and they just kind of chuckle and not say anything. So I still at a loss as to whether that ever goes away. It's joyful not to be reactive. You do get more peace and more harmony. You certainly have many, many, many less problems, because you're not creating karmic cycles for yourself. So you're taking yourself out of the loop every time, because every time we're reactive, we're then setting another cycle in motion, where that reaction that you gave will come back to you in some shape or form. So there is a greater peace and harmony by pulling yourself out of those dynamics, pulling yourself out of those dysfunctional cycles. But there is that the little devil that sits on your shoulder that goes, go on, just do it. And sometimes it can feel like you're being a bit of a goody two shoes. And so it's finding things that allow you to express yourself fully and embracing those. A lot of people I've noticed on the spiritual path and it's interesting, because I had a conversation about the Dark Sisterhood when we were up in Iona. And I found it interesting how there was an absolute idea of what the Dark Sisterhood looked like, and a real reluctance to accept that non-action is just as hurtful. And so if we're going to have those conversations, then we've all been part of it, unfortunately. And the only way that we're actually going to move that and heal that is to have that deep, deep, deep honesty and discernment about our own part that we've played within those kind of dynamics. That's another video altogether. But I just wanted to share those 5 aspects. There'll be many, many aspects, but those are the 5 that I've found the most challenging. And I hope what I've shared with you helps you to take little gems out of there and kind of make use of them to help you on your journey. So thank you for being with me. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button, press the subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and please do share with your friends. Until the next one, bye bye.